Insular Celtic languages are those Celtic languages that originated in the British Isles. In contrast to the continental Celtic languages of mainland Europe and Anatolia, all surviving Celtic languages are from the Insular Celtic group. The continental Celtic languages are extinct. The 6 Insular Celtic languages of modern times can be divided into the Goidelic languages, Irish, Manx, and Scottish Gaelic, the Brittonic languages, Breton, Cornish, and Welsh. Insular Celtic hypothesis. The Insular Celtic hypothesis is a theory that the Brythonic and Goidelic languages evolved together in those islands, having a common ancestor more recent than any shared with the continental Celtic languages such as Celtiberian, Gaulish, Galatian and Lepontic, among others, all of which are long extinct. The proponents of the Insular Celtic hypothesis point to shared innovations among Insular Celtic languages, including inflected prepositions, shared use of certain verbal particles, VSO word order, and the differentiation of absolute and conjunct verb endings as found extensively in Old Irish and to a small extent in Middle Welsh. They assert that a partition that lumps the Brythonic languages and Gaulish on one side and the Goidelic languages with Celtiberian on the other, may be a superficial one, as the identical sound shift could have occurred independently in the predecessors of Gaulish and Brythonic, or have spread through language contact between those two groups. The family tree of the Insular Celtic languages is thus as follows: Insular Celtic, Goidelic, Primitive Irish, ancestral to, Old Irish, ancestral to, Middle Irish, ancestral to, Irish, Scottish Gaelic, Manx, Brythonic, Pictish, British, Cumbric, Old Welsh, ancestral to Middle Welsh, ancestral to, Welsh, Southwestern Brythonic, ancestral to, Breton and Cornish. The following table lists cognates showing the development of Proto-Celtic *K2p in Gaulish and the Brythonic languages but *K in the Goidelic languages. A significant difference between Goidelic and Brythonic languages is the transformation of *n am to a denasalized vowel with lengthening e acute before an originally voiceless stop or fricative cf. Old Irish e acute c death, cath fish hook, d acute t tooth, c acute t 100 versus Welsh angau, angad, dant, and cant. Otherwise, the nasal is retained before a vowel I, w, m, and a liquid. Old Irish ben, woman, Old Irish gainathar, he, she is born, Old Irish ainb, ignorant. The nasal passes to n before another n. Old Irish ben, p, Middle Irish rogen, finds a place. The nasal passes to in before a voiced stop. Old Irish imb, butter, n. Cornish amenine, Old Irish and gen, nail, Old Irish tenga, tongue, Old Irish ing, straight. Insular Celtic as a language area. In order to show that shared innovations are from a common descent, it is necessary that they do not arise because of language contact after initial separation. A language area can result from widespread bilingualism, perhaps because of exogamy, and absence of sharp socio-linguistic division. Ranko Matisovic has provided a list of changes which affected both branches of Insular Celtic but for which there is no evidence that they should be dated to a putative Proto-Insular Celtic period. These are phonological changes: the lenition of voiceless stops raising, I affection lowering, a affection apocope syncope. Morphological changes: creation of conjugated prepositions, loss of case inflection of personal pronouns, creation of the equative degree, creation of the imperfect, creation of the conditional mood. Morphosyntactic and syntactic rigidization of VSO order, creation of preposed definite articles, creation of particles expressing sentence affirmation and negation, creation of periphrastic construction, creation of object markers, use of ordinal numbers in the sensive one of absolute and dependent verb. The Insular Celtic verb shows a peculiar feature unknown in any other attested Indo-European language. Verbs have different conjugational forms depending on whether they appear in absolute initial position in the sentence or whether they are preceded by a preverbal particle. The situation is most robustly attested in Old Irish, but it has remained to some extent in Scottish Gaelic, and traces of it are present in Middle Welsh as well. Forms that appear in sentence initial position are called absolute, those that appear after a particle are called conjunct. The paradigm of the present active indicative of the Old Irish verb buried, carry, is as follows. The conjunct forms are illustrated with the particle ni, not. In Scottish Gaelic this distinction is still found in certain verb forms. In Middle Welsh, the distinction is seen most clearly in proverbs following the formula X happens, Y does not happen. Perid y raiku, ny fera a iguru, the furrows last, he who made them lasts not. Trengit galut, ny thre ank malut, wealth perishes, fame perishes not. Tywit mabin, ny thife y gadachan, an infant grows, his swaddling clothes grow not. Queriite mab noeth, ny quer mab nuanork, a naked boy plays, a hungry boy plays not. The older analysis of the distinction, as reported by Thurnason, held that the absolute endings derived from Proto-Indo-European primary endings, while the conjunct endings derived from the secondary endings. Thus Old Irish absolute buried, he carries, was thought to be from *bearita, while conjunct bea was thought to be from *bearit. Today, however, most Celticists agree that Cowgill, following an idea present already in Pedersen, found the correct solution to the origin of the absolute conjunct distinction. An enclitic particle, reconstructed as *s after consonants and *s after vowels, came in second position in the sentence. If the first word in the sentence was another particle, *s came after that and thus before the verb. But if the verb was the first word in the sentence, *s was cliticized to it. Under this theory, then, Old Irish absolute buried comes from Proto-Celtic *berea s, while conjunct ni bear comes from *ni s berea. The identity of the *s particle remains uncertain. Cowgill suggests it might be a semantically degraded form of *d, while Shriver has argued it is derived from the particle *eti, and then, which is attested in Gaulish. Continental Celtic languages cannot be shown to have any absolute conjunct distinction. However, they seem to show only SVO in SOV word orders, as in other Indo-European languages. The absolute conjunct distinction may thus be an artifact of the VSO word order that arose in Insular Celtic. Possible Afroasiatic substratum. The concept of the Insular Celtic languages being descended from Hebrew was part of medieval superstition, but the hypothesis that they had features from an Afroasiatic substratum was first proposed by John Morris Jones in 1900. Some well-known linguists have been adherents such as Julius Pokorny, Heinrich Wagner, and Oren Gensler. There has been further work on the theory by Shisha Halevi and Theo Veneman. This theory was also advocated by Henri Jenner in his Handbook of the Cornish Language, where he states, "There must have been among Cornish speakers a tendency to a somewhat blurred sound of certain letters, as though there were an obstruction of some sort in their vocal organs, not altogether unlike that attributed on the stage and in fiction, with some foundation in fact, to the Hebrew race. This is shown by the tendency to turn s and z into sh and zh, and to insert d before n, b before m. This theory is not supported by Michael Everson, who calls it in the same book mistaken and inappropriate, and solemnly warns readers against making these connections. The theory has been criticized by Graham Isaac and by Kim McConnor. Isaac alleges that the 20 points identified by Gensler are trivial dependencies or vacuous, but without giving a rationale. Thus he considers the theory to be not just unproven but wrong.